After my surgery, I couldn't walk without help. My in-laws stayed to support. Instead, I watched them eat the last of my food, criticize the way I sat, and laugh about how useless I looked. My wife said, "They're just old school." That night, when they asked for the Wi-Fi password again, I gave them something else. I had back surgery in late February after months of dragging my leg around and ignoring the pain. Doctors said it was a severely herniated disc and I needed the surgery if I wanted to walk normally again. I thought the hard part would be the hospital. I was wrong. They sent me home the next morning. I couldn't move much. I had a walker, a grabber stick, and strict instructions to avoid twisting, bending, or sitting too long. Even getting to the bathroom took effort. My wife had taken a week off work to help me recover. On day 2, she said her parents were driving in from Ohio to help. I didn't love the idea. Her parents have always rubbed me the wrong way. Loud, opinionated, never really respected boundaries. But I was in no shape to argue. I figured a few days, they'd cook, maybe do some errands. They showed up like they owned the place. Her dad immediately took the recliner, the one spot in the house where I could sit without pain. I was still trying to get from the car to the couch, holding my wife's arm, sweating from the effort. Her mom walked past me without saying hi, carrying a bag of groceries I didn't ask for. She told my wife, "I'll need to rearrange some things in your fridge." The first time I asked for help, literally just, "Can someone hand me that water bottle?" Her dad said, "You got legs, don't you?" Then laughed like it was a good one. My wife laughed too, lightly. I didn't. They ate everything. I prepped before the surgery. Frozen soups, easy prep meals, some soft stuff for the nausea I knew would come. All gone by day 3. Her dad grilled steaks the second night. Didn't ask. Used my good knife, which he then left in the sink for 2 days. Her mom reorganized the pantry, tossed out half my snacks because processed food causes inflammation. They didn't clean. They didn't ask how I was doing. They didn't even really look at me unless it was to comment. "You're still on that walker? Don't they get you up in therapy? You're gonna lose all your muscle." Back in my day, we worked through pain. Didn't have all this recovery time. They sat at my kitchen table each night talking like I wasn't even there. On day 4, I was trying to get comfortable on the couch. My leg was twitching and I couldn't get my hips lined up right. I was grimacing, trying to adjust, and her dad said, "Look at him," like a dying turtle flipped on its back. They laughed. Both of them. Loud. I looked at my wife. She didn't say a word. She didn't even look at me. Later, I asked her if she thought what they said was okay. She said, "They're just old school. They don't mean anything by it." And then added, "They're here to help. Can we not fight right now?" That was the moment something shifted. I didn't say anything else that night. I just laid there watching the ceiling while they laughed in the kitchen about something else. Probably me. The next morning, her dad asked for the Wi-Fi password again. Said he reset his phone. I told him I'd write it down for him. Went to the table, scribbled it on a post-it note. Handed it to him with a smile. He typed it in. Said, "It's not working." I said, still smiling. Weird. What I'd written wasn't the Wi-Fi password. It was the login to my backup router, the one I'd set up years ago when I was testing out different providers. Still active. Still accessible. But very, very limited. About 0.3 megabits per second download speed. Basically dial-up. I let them think it was the real thing. For the rest of the day, they complained. "The internet's down. It's crawling. Can't even check my email." I shrugged. "Must be the weather," I said. "Storm coming in." They reset the router twice. Didn't help. Called the provider. Still didn't help. I pretended to be confused, too. "Weird. Never had issues before," I said. "Maybe it's all the devices on the network?" Her dad started turning off his phone's Wi-Fi to save bandwidth. Her mom unplugged the Roku. Nothing worked. I watched them spiral in slow motion. They couldn't stream TV. They couldn't check Facebook. They couldn't sit at my kitchen table making jokes while scrolling through the news. I watched them finally get quiet. Bored. Irritated. Uncomfortable. I pretended not to notice. But that was just the start. The slower the internet got, the louder their complaining became. They were used to having things their way. Her dad especially. He'd start every morning by grumbling, still no damn internet, like we owed him a functioning home. I stayed on the couch most of the time, quiet. Watching. Listening. On the 5th day, her mom stood in front of the TV and said, "We didn't come all this way to sit in silence." I wanted to say, "Then go home." But I didn't. Instead, I started playing my own game. That night, after they went to bed, I unplugged their devices from the backup router completely. Changed the access password. Left them just enough signal so it looked like it was connected, but nothing would load. The next morning, her dad came out, holding his phone. "This thing's broke." "Is it?" I said. "Try restarting." He restarted 3 times. Her mom stood in the hallway muttering something about needing to message a cousin. My wife was in the bathroom. I heard her sigh through the door, tired of both sides. That afternoon, I made it to the kitchen by myself. It hurt, but I did it. Grabbed a small lunch, brought it back to the couch. Her dad saw me and said, "Well, would you look at that? He walks." I didn't look at him. Then he added, "Guess you were milking it a little, huh?" That stuck with me. Milking it. Like the pain wasn't real. Like I wasn't pushing through every damn minute just to breathe without wanting to scream. My wife didn't say anything. Not even a glance. That night, I logged into the security system. We have cameras inside, one in the living room, one in the kitchen. I don't usually check them unless we're out of town. But I got curious. There was footage. Lots of it. Clips of them making jokes about me after I went to bed. "Look at the way he shuffles. Like a penguin with hemorrhoids. You think he's even trying? Bet he's loving all this attention. He just wants your daughter waiting on him hand and foot." They laughed. Long and hard. My wife didn't say much. But she didn't stop them either. I watched it all, every minute. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just sat there, still as stone. The next day, I started cleaning. Not the house. My laptop. My phone. My old logins. I began gathering every embarrassing or petty thing they'd ever texted or said over the years. Screenshots. Videos. Little comments they'd posted online under their names, thinking no one would ever see. I made a folder. Labeled it, just old school things. And then I waited. They were supposed to leave after a week. On day 7, my wife said they might stay a few extra days. The roads are bad. It hadn't snowed in 2 weeks. I checked the forecast, clear skies. They said they want to make sure you're okay, she added. I didn't respond. Just nodded. I'd stopped arguing. What was the point? That night, I moved the camera in the living room to face more of the kitchen. Subtle, just a few inches. They didn't notice. The next morning, I heard her mom on the phone with someone, I think her sister. She said, "We're staying longer. He's still milking it, and honestly, it's embarrassing. You should see how he sits. Like a lump. Poor wife's name has to do everything." I made coffee that morning. Took me 20 minutes, but I did it. Her dad came into the kitchen, looked at me holding the mug with both hands, and smirked. "You gonna ask for a straw too?" I didn't flinch. Later that day, while they were out for groceries, I uploaded the camera footage to a private link. No edits. Just clips. The comments. The jokes. My wife's silence. I didn't send it to anyone. I just had it there. Like a loaded gun. That night, they came home with more food. Stuff I couldn't eat. "We figured you could try pushing through," her mom said. The next morning, her dad opened his laptop and realized it was still dead slow. He stormed into the living room. "You sure the internet's working, bud?" "Perfectly fine for me," I said. I held up my phone. "Streaming just fine." He glared. Said nothing. I went back to watching old home videos, real ones. From a few years ago. My wife and I on vacation. Us laughing, walking around Charleston. Before the surgery. Before they moved in like roaches. That night, my wife and I argued. Quietly in our bedroom. "They're trying their best," she said. "They don't mean anything by it." I told her I had the footage. She froze. I said, "They don't respect me. And you don't defend me." She just stood there. Then she said something I'll never forget. "Maybe if you acted a little stronger, they wouldn't treat you like that." That was the moment something inside me cracked. Not loudly. Not with fire. Just a quiet snap. The next morning, I didn't speak. I moved slow, did my stretches. Ate in silence. I could feel all 3 of them watching me, my wife, her mom, her dad. Something had shifted. Maybe they felt it too. Maybe not. That afternoon, her dad tried to make small talk. He asked if I needed help getting outside for fresh air. I said I'm good. That night, I took my laptop and quietly emailed myself a copy of the footage link. Just in case. Then I logged into my wife's shared cloud account, the one we used for family photos. She never changed the password. I uploaded the video folder into a subfolder labeled Dad's 70th birthday. Then I locked it behind a private setting. I knew she'd find it eventually. I just didn't want it to be now. 2 days later, I made a doctor's appointment, a real one. Said I wanted to go in person to check my recovery. I asked my wife to drive me. On the way back, I asked her to stop at a diner. We sat there over cold sandwiches, not saying much. Then I asked, "Do you love me or do you just feel responsible for me?" She stared down at her coffee. "I don't know," she said. "It's been hard." I nodded. "Harder than watching them treat me like furniture?" She didn't answer. When we got home, her parents were on the couch watching TV on their phones for once. Her dad grumbled something about the signal finally picking up. I had reconnected the main router before we left. I wanted them distracted. That night, after they went to bed, I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I walked. No walker. No cane. Just a slow, shaky trip from the couch to the hallway. It hurt. A lot. But I did it. Alone. I looked into the guest room. They were both asleep. Her mom snored. I left the door half open. Back in the living room, I changed the camera settings. Set it to alert me for movement and sound. Enabled audio backups. They wouldn't know. Most people don't check those things. Next morning, I made breakfast. For myself. Scrambled eggs. Toast. I didn't ask if they wanted any. When her mom walked in and said, "Didn't think you cooked?" I just looked at her and said, "I don't think you think much at all." She blinked. Looked stunned. Then she left the room. My wife came in later and whispered, "You can't start things." I said, "They already started it." I didn't yell. I didn't raise my voice once. That night, I rewatched the footage. All of it. Labeled each clip with a date and time. I wasn't even sure what I was building anymore. A case? A record? Something to make myself feel like I wasn't crazy? Then I found a new clip. I hadn't seen this one before. Her mom, talking to my wife in the kitchen. "You need to think long-term," she said. "This is your life now? A man who limps and needs taken care of? You could still have a normal future." And my wife? She said, "I know. I've been thinking about that too." 3 days after I heard that recording, my wife saying she was thinking about a different future, I stopped pretending. No more silence. No more quiet meals. I printed still images from the camera footage. Just a few. One of her dad mocking me. One of her mom laughing at something on her phone while I was trying to get off the floor. One of my wife standing there, not saying a word. I left them on the kitchen table, face up. When they came in for breakfast, they froze. Her mom asked, "What is this?" I said, "Proof." Her dad laughed short, nervous. "What, you spying on us now?" "No," I said. "Just watching how people act when they think no one's looking." My wife stared at the pictures like they were burning holes in the table. Her face went pale. Then I opened my laptop. I clicked a link and said, "This folder goes live in 2 hours unless I stop it. It's scheduled. Sent to her work, your church group, your Facebook contacts, and our mutual friends. All of it. Everything you said. Everything you did." Her dad stepped forward. Face red. "You wouldn't dare." I looked him in the eyes and said, "Try me." My wife whispered, "Why are you doing this?" And that was it. That was the moment I realized she still didn't get it. None of them did. I stood up. No cane. No help. My back screamed, but I didn't care anymore. I said, "Because you let them break me. You watched it happen." No one moved. No one said a word. I picked up my phone and hit send. The screen flashed. The link was live. Her mom gasped. Her dad cursed. My wife just stood there, frozen. They tried to grab my laptop. I let them. It was too late. The file was already out. Dozens of people were seeing it right now. The laughter, the mocking, the way they treated a man who couldn't walk. Later that day, her dad's phone started ringing. Over and over. Her mom sat in silence on the couch, shaking. My wife locked herself in the bedroom. That night, I packed a bag. I didn't even take much, just what I could carry. A friend came to get me. I didn't tell them where I was going. I didn't even leave a note. I just walked out the door. And as I closed it behind me, I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel strong. I just felt done.